Today we are going to discuss about how to enter the BIOS or CMO setup. Let's start. Because of the wide variety of computer and BIOS manufacturers over the evolution of computers, there are numerous ways to enter the BIOS or CMO setup. We are now discussing about these methods, as well as other recommendations for entering the BIOS setup. Note, Apple or Mac computers do not have a BIOS and instead utilize an EFI, which does not need to modify based on the hardware in the computer, like a BIOS. The EFI provides better integration between hardware and software for Apple computers, virtually eliminating the need for a BIOS. Note, this document does not help if you cannot enter the CMO setup with password. For today's new computers, computers manufactured in the last few years allow you to enter the BIOS setup using one of the 5 keys shown below during the boot process. F1, F2, F10, Delete, Escape. Setup keys are to be pressed randomly as the computer is booting up. Some older computers may also display a flashing block to indicate when to press the F1 or F2 keys. Tip: if your computer is new and you are unsure of what key to press when the computer is booting, try pressing and holding one or more keys on the keyboard to cause a stuck key error. Note, if you are still unable to enter the BIOS using the methods listed above, check the motherboard's manual for the appropriate key to enter BIOS. Once you have successfully entered the CMO setup, you should see a screen similar like this. Your CMO setup may look a little different, depending on the manufacturer, but should still have most of the same options in the menu on the left or along the bottom of the screen. Now it's time CMO setup screen. So how do you change and save changes in CMO setup? Once in CMO setup, the method for changing the settings often depends on the BIOS manufacturer. You may use the arrow keys along with the enter key to select categories and change their values. Tip: all manufacturers show which keys navigate on the bottom or right hand side of the screen. What if you cannot change the values to a setting I want to use? If you are trying to change the clock, speed, or other settings and do not have the option available, it is because it is not supported by the motherboard. If you believe it should be supported, you may need a BIOS update. Tip: if changes you made appear to revert back to default settings or the date and time setting in the BIOS keeps falling behind, you may need to replace the CMO's battery. How do you save the changes? If any changes are made, you need to save those changes, which typically done by pressing the F10 key on the keyboard. If F10 does not work, look at the bottom or top of the screen for the key that is used to save the settings. Older computers. Unlike the computers of today, older computers, before 1995, had numerous methods of entering the BIOS setup. Below is a listing of key sequences to press as the computer is booting to enter the BIOS setup. Ctrl plus Alt plus ESC. Ctrl plus Alt plus INS. Ctrl plus Alt plus Enter. Ctrl plus Alt plus S. Page up key. Page down key. Other suggestions for you guys. Finally, if none of the above suggestions allow access to your CMO setup, you can create a stuck key error, causing the CMO setup prompt to appear until you press a key to continue. To do this, press and hold any key on the keyboard and do not let go. You may get several beeps as you are doing this. Keep pressing the key until the computer stops booting and you have the option to enter setup. I will continue uploading many more informative video like this, so please do subscribe our channel. Stay tuned. Stay connected.